Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy, Turkish Delight with the Battlefront Bazaar. And today we finally got some news for Battlefront 2 after weeks of pure silence on the development side. We've got a few things to cover, so let's just jump right into it. Starting off, and probably the most pressing of all, we finally got some general communication from DICE regarding Battlefront 2. It's nothing major, but just the fact we're getting communication again is a good thing. Ben is still on vacation for another couple of days, so this time we're getting news from a community manager at EA by the name of Tom, who goes by EA Tom on the forums. Tom made 3 separate posts on the Battlefront forums, each talking about a few different things. The first one to mention is that he officially confirms Palpatine is coming back to the game, as well as Ewok Hunt in the next patch on August 7th. This patch is what was supposed to be the hotfix, which was meant to fix all the major bugs that the Hero Starfighters update brought into the game. It's coming a little later than we all would have hoped, but hey, it's officially on the way, and we even have a release date to look forward to. Ben gets back from his vacation on the very same day, so expect him to make a grand return with an announcement for this patch, most likely with the full patch notes, which I will make a separate video for to cover in great detail. So make sure you've subscribed and you're getting notified so that you know when that video drops. That will be one you do not want to miss. Tom only mentions Palpatine and Ewok Hunt here, but this specific patch is going to contain a good number of game improvements, including the changes to the lightsaber stamina system. I've made a video on the stamina changes we saw in the first update, which you can watch by clicking on the card popping up in the top right or clicking the link in the description. But it looks like with these tweaks coming in the August 7th patch, a new video will be in order, so look forward to that one too. Next up, we have confirmation that the double XP bonus we were supposed to get last weekend will now be activated for the weekend of August 10th through the 12th. Keep in mind this is not this upcoming weekend, but the weekend after. Yes, it's a bit of a longer wait, but also keep in mind we're getting Palpatine back on the 7th, so that's a perfect opportunity to make up for the lost time with him and help him catch up on some levels that weekend. Pretty sure that was an intentional decision on DICE's part, because I see no other reason not to have it this upcoming weekend, unless there still is nobody back from vacation to flip the switch on it. So we're going to have to wait a bit longer on the double XP, but I'm sure getting to rank Darth Sidious up quickly will be rewarding enough of a payoff. He has been sadly missed in the game by many. And finally, the last announcement Tom made on the forums was in regard to the ping site issues many players have been having. This is a problem where many players are having their ping site settings reset and their site gets changed to a random location they are not in, and it makes finding lobbies and games virtually impossible. Anytime the settings get changed to the correct ones, it just resets itself. The game actually becomes unplayable for these players, and that is a serious problem. The good news is that a fix is coming for these issues, but the bad news is that it will be after this update that brings Palpatine back. I don't know the reasoning behind this. I think it's a bad move, especially if it's possible to roll this fix out first. The ping site issue is a big one for a lot of players, and I think should be a top priority. I'm sure it is for DICE, and I'm sure there is a good reason as to why they can't bring this fix out first, but it doesn't stop the frustrations a lot of players are feeling. This has been going on for weeks now for some. Tom says more information will be available closer to the time of the release for this fix. That's all the news we have on DICE's side, but I wanted to bring something cool to your attention if you haven't seen it already. On the official Battlefront 2 website, there is a tab on the overhead menu that says News, and if you click on it, you'll see a few articles that were written by Daniel Steinholtz, who is an editorial writer at DICE. He writes these articles on Battlefront 2, and they're actually pretty good reads if you're a fan of the game. The most recent one he put up is 5 tips and tricks for Hero Showdown, which has some really good general hints for success in the mode, but the one he put out before that one is what I found really interesting. Daniel writes that he got to interview Guillaume Moreau, the hero designer at DICE, who is the brains behind all our favorite heroes that we like to play as on the Battlefront. He asks Guillaume about the stamina changes that were implemented in the July patch, and Guillaume had this to say. One of the main purposes of this update is to improve lightsaber combat. The first step, and this is something the community has been asking for, is changing the hero's stamina. This is obviously old news, and Guillaume goes on to talk about the block-off duels that we used to have where we could just block forever with lightsabers, but what I find most interesting in that quote is that he said the stamina changes were the first step in improving lightsaber combat. Now, I could definitely be looking too far into it, but if stamina is the first step, I wonder what steps 2 and beyond are. Who knows, maybe by the time we get Anakin and Dooku, we could get lightsaber combat that looks like this. Or this. Yeah, that would be pretty sweet. But again, it could just be how he said it, and I'm reading in between lines that don't exist. But on the topic of lightsaber stamina, he gave us some insight on what we can expect from our upcoming hero, Obi Wan Kenobi, as a playable character in terms of his lightsaber ability. If you're a fan of Master Kenobi, you know he is a defensive genius, with Mace Windu at one point declaring him the master. Not a master, but the master of the defensive third form of lightsaber combat, Surisu. It's the reason he won against Vader on Mustafar, who easily outclassed him in raw power. He was on the ropes the entire time, but effectively blocking Vader's strikes until he got to an advantageous position on the high ground. Obi-Wan was able to come out the winner. On the topic of moving forward with stamina and future heroes, Guillaume says, "We have an upcoming hero like Obi-Wan Kenobi, who is calm and has really good defensive lightsaber mastery, so we'll do our best to make him feel that way. Bottom line is that we now have a lot more cranks to pull to make the characters feel like themselves. And that is really cool to hear, because as somebody who actually liked the stamina changes, or at least the idea behind them, I'm really looking forward to see how the other heroes like Dooku and Anakin will play, and how their stamina is based on their fighting style. It sets a cool precedent for even more future heroes we could see in 2019. Check out my video on my speculative roadmap for 2019, a card for which is popping up now and which is linked in the description, to see some of those possible hero ideas for future seasons we could see next year. In this same article, though, Guillaume actually disclosed who his favorite Star Wars character is, saying it was Ahsoka from the Clone Wars, and that he would love to get her into the game someday. He follows up by saying Anakin is his second favorite, and though this obviously doesn't mean anything other than what his favorite characters are, this could mean that we can expect a lot of care and dedication to go into Anakin specifically, and possibly even more so with Ahsoka if she ever makes her way into Battlefront 2. But with that brings this news update to a close. Not a whole lot in terms of actual news, but we now at least have an official release date for the patch we've all been waiting for. There's really no point in calling it a hotfix at this point. It's coming well over a month after the July update, so it's basically just the first August patch now. By the sound of it, we're getting at least one more, with possibly a third one that contains a fix for the ping site issue, if that one isn't just bundled with the second one. The second patch is what is supposed to be the original August update, the one that contains clone skins and the ability to purchase emotes and victory poses with credits and crystals. So August, if nothing else, should be a pretty eventful month for Battlefront 2, which honestly is good after the very quiet and dull month of July we just had. So now let me hear from you guys. What are you guys most looking forward to in August? Is it the clone skins or the ability to buy emotes? Or is it the fact we're getting Palpatine back? To me, August seems like a month of balancing, and I'm honestly most excited for that. The new stamina changes, the bug fixes, and the balancing that is sure to take place will hopefully make the game more streamlined and just feel better to play as a whole. And I honestly couldn't ask for much more than that this month. I appreciate you all stopping by the bazaar. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, be sure to join the discussion, and if you're a new viewer, consider becoming a subscriber to stay up to date with all future videos. This has been Turkish Delight, and I'll see you all out on the battlefront. Peace.
Rum, tequilas, margaritas, got me chilling with the divas and all of the spicy senoritas. They be dancing on the table, all so graceful, delight angels, got them spun like ballerinas. If woman not from Venus, take me to the zenith, I'm a phoenix.